I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
No need. I'm very happy to be part of your show, and I want to thank you to having me here and give me also this platform to talk a bit about the album. And yeah, just let's have fun.
You have to be very proud of this album. What time did you begin working on this one?
Thank you. So I started, I seriously decided to go for the album in terms of like, okay, getting equipment, figuring out how to record, the production and post-production things. I want to say in 2024, Necrobeast is started way back then in 2003.
Yes.
It was I did the project with a friend of mine back in Chile, in the south of Chile. In 2004, we wrote the demo that was recorded around that time to be released in 2005, 2006. CDR, do it yourself type of scenario. And At that point in my life, I just wanted to have something out. We had this demo that it happens that as it happens, they are way more appreciated after a few
Sure.
years. They're out. Back in the day, all this social media was not a thing, and the thing that it was started, it was not meant to like, kind of open this sort of promotional side. But for many years, it just happened that I always wanted to record an album, to have an album with Necrobeast. At some point, because of how life is, I moved out from my country, from Chile, and then uh, yeah, and then I always had this in my mind to make an album of Necrobeast, but I never had the chance up until so I said in 2024 when I finally felt like I had the know-how and I went for it. Yeah, and I recorded. I started writing it at the end of 2024, recorded it in 2025, and as things happens, it just takes a lot of time to release something.
And I told you before, I feel that this album is very strong. It reminds me of a battle of sorts because you start out within communion with Satan, and from that track on, it's just a stay barrage, one after another, one hit until the as the battle ends and there's victory, right? I want to ask you, in writing these tracks, did you have a vision as you were writing these tracks on their placement as they are on the album?
Yes, yeah, totally. I spent a fair amount of time once the all the tracks were done, to thinking what would be the best place. I feel like in many ways, us back in the day, we grew up listening to albums, right?
Hmm.
Tape, CDs, LPs, you name it, but it was the album. So you took your time. You always basically you're like savor it. There is something very nice, and then with Spotify and the streaming services, we kind of shift the way of listening to
Sure.
music, right? Our attention span gets cut off, and suddenly we're just like thinking in terms of songs, and not only that, in terms of 20 seconds of the song. If I'm not
Right.
impressed in the first 20 seconds, since I have immediate access to almost everything, I just kind of keep going back and forth. But then I re-enchanted myself or reacquainted myself with listening to albums again to get you always have them, right? But
Mm.
it's easier and more convenient maybe to use these streaming services. And then when I decided to do this album with Necrobeast, before that I was playing. I have another band in Sweden called Morphetic, which also were playing thrash. And I think when we were recording the second album, Proclamation of War, I kind of realized how important is the placement in order to tell a story, in order to,
Sure.
in many ways, to create the album experience more than looking for that hook that will get the algorithm to kick in with one song or one or two songs. And I feel like what I had in mind, it was that I wanted the album that as you mentioned, it's like one punch after another, but I don't want it to sound repetitive. I mean, I'm
Sure.
not claiming that I'm reinventing the wheel. I'm transgressing the boundaries of black thrash, because I never care about that. I don't care about like this innovative side. But what I do care is that it's not like when you're listening, it's like, oh my God, this is the same song
Right.
4 times. So in many ways, I try to put a bit of like how do you say, like intertwined some songs that are more black metal with songs that are more thrash metal,
Sure.
songs that have also this middle pace in between, and starting hard, right? There is a reason why Angel of Death is the first song of of
Mhm.
Raining Blood or Ella Waits and so on, because you need to start with that punch. And I feel like within Communion with Satan, you put mark like the level of aggression, and then it's just a matter of how you place it. So at
Sure.
the end of the day, you finish listening to the album, it's 35 minutes, and you're like, whoa, that went fast, but it's 35 minutes. It's not a short album. And that has to do with the placement. Is
Absolutely.
for the people to enjoy the notion of album more than songs, I would say.
Yeah, and the the beauty of albums was, we both grew up in those times, so we remember albums, and we remember that the side two always gave an artist a chance to show it maybe at times a different side. Like a side A would have a certain theme behind it, and here we go to side two, and now we're exploring something different.
Yes, exactly. And there, so the way that, of course, in a CD, you have all them at the same time. But I did think, since I wanted to the album to be in all the formats, in case of tape and vinyl, I had that in mind. So the first songs need to be this packed punch, and then the second ones is they're a bit more brutal, still fast, still more aggressive, but maybe in a different way. It's a more dark and dense side, I would say. Yeah, yeah.
And the journey as an artist for you, I wanted to ask you, what is your process when you go through creating, as far as what gets laid down first in the track, what gets laid down second? What is the process?
So, um, so for a Necrobeast, I think that there is a distinction between having a band and having a one-man
Sure.
project, right?
Sure.
Creativity-wise, is everything more streamlined, but it takes a lot of more time because you need to think in all the different
Sure.
pieces. I noticed that when we wrote the first two albums with Morphetic, this was a very collective endeavor. So there was a constant feedback regarding how to improve the different aspects of a song. In Necrobeast, I start with a vision. I know what I want from the band, and as a general theme, and I see each album or each production as a one step closer to that general vision. What do I started with Iron Baphomet. I always starts with the guitars. The guitars lay the foundations for me, because from the guitars onward, I can imagine how the drums will go.
Mm.
Um, Once I have some sort of scheme regarding the drums, then I need to trust in someone that actually knows how to play the drums. So this this time I hired, although in some reviews they might think that the drum is programmed, it's not. A friend of mine I hired for him to play the drums. Is it happens he's just very good, and then the lyrics are at the end. But because I have a I think for me, it takes a lot of time to know how the phrasing of the song comes, even though
Sure.
I know the overall topic of, okay, in Communion with Satan is about the legends from the south of Chile about these entities called brujos, which I would say is similar to warlocks, that we know because of historical records that they go through a ritual in which they need to sell their soul to the devil in order to gain their powers, right? So I knew that I wanted to write something like that, but the words, the ultimately, I need the guitar to tell me, to give me, let's say, that space in which, okay, I can phrase it in this specific way.
Sure.
Otherwise, it would go out of sync, out of pace, you name it, right? So I start first with the song, with the guitar. Then I try to come up with the drums. Then, of course, the bass lines are fairly simple because even though they are not fully follow the guitar. They are heavily based in the guitar, and then the song is at the end. I don't have a particular idea of the concept of the song immediately, but it goes through and through with the process of writing the guitars, I would say. So that's why I feel like Iron Baphomet and Necrobeast is first and foremost a riff-based album, and you can feel the presence
Absolutely.
of the guitars, right?
Absolutely. And another thing that I was immersive while listening to it is the album artwork itself. I wanted to ask if you could speak on it and the artist that was involved.
Perfect. So the idea of the Iron Baphomet, it's let's say it's very similar to this idea of the the medallion of Judas Priest or the Eddie Maiden, like
Mhm.
the mascot
Absolutely.
of the band. And the Iron Baphomet is the way that I understand or visualize all these narratives that throughout history have in some sense merged humanity, all these narratives that comes from these beings from out of world, everything that we cannot see, all the side of the occult, all this also this idea of rebellion against
Hmm.
established religion, is it coalesces or it crystallizes in this being that I call the Iron Baphomet. And if you see, for instance, the demo El Despertar de la Necrobestia, which is the one that I was telling you about earlier, there is in back in 2005 there was already some sort of semblance of the Iron Baphomet, not like now, but still this
Mm.
sort of beast that is like a dragon mixed with a ram. Um, that then when the demo was reissued by Brutal Insanity for the 20th anniversary, 20-year anniversary, now it's central in the cover, and it's also in the cover of the single In Communion with Satan, and ultimately in the cover. And these are done by a Slovenian artist. Her name is Nina Ribic, and I've been working with her for a few years now. Yeah, and she's able to understand the like to translate all my thoughts. If there is something that I cannot do is actually draw, but I can explain
Sure.
the concept and the ideas, and I think it's translated very very well in terms of art. So she's been in charge of all the covers. At the moment, I have four covers done by her, which is the album, the two singles, and the demo. And for what it comes in the future, she will also be participating as the main artist. Yeah.
And I've seen lyric videos from the album. Will there be a, a, a theatrical video ahead in your future?
So I have two lyric videos at the moment. You mean theatrical as like me
Yes.
playing or
Yeah.
no, no, I haven't thought about that. I think let's say this face is made for being behind being on an album or something, not to be on the on videos. But I'm thinking mostly in terms of lyric video. I think that I don't know who started with this, but I know that it's been some sort of trend for the last what 5 to 10 years,
Sure.
and I think it's a very good way of not only showing off the singles, but also it allows you with a lot of it's quite versatile in terms of like how you can come up with the theme, the overall theme. I work with an artist from Colombia that he's the one that does the lyric videos. The both that I've only done two, and both of them has been by him. And I think it's very important this collaboration with this artist that they're able to understand what you want, even though I try to explain it in very primitive terms. But
And
at the moment, I would say I will stay with the lyric videos.
the album is out. What is the next step for you, my friend?
So, in terms of music now, I've finished recording an EP that it will be out sometime at the beginning of next year. Out of it's four songs, and one of those songs will be also released as a single and as a lyric video, maybe at the end of this year. What I want to do with Necrobeast is in between full lengths, always have an EP.
Mm,
And the reason why is that I'm fond of back in the day when I was recording the demo is also 4 songs. It's tuned. It's a very low tuning. It's in B, whilst the album is in D. So I want all the EPs being the original tuning of Necrobeast. In many ways, it's some sort of callback, to maybe simpler times when we were a kid
sure.
and tried to get it back. So the idea is to have an album, EP, and so on. The EP at the beginning, I'm imagining that it's gonna be only in physical format. At some point, I would upload it into, I don't know if streaming services, but for sure my the YouTube channel of the band. I'm also aware that it's very difficult nowadays to move products across continents
Sure.
because of all those things. So I feel
Absolutely.
like even though I'm fond of the physical format, there is a value in sharing the music with people that for many reasons, either because also it's expensive, also they have some other priorities, but just to have it there. Ultimately, this is for all of us to enjoy, and I really hope that people connect with Necrobeast, because in many ways uh, it is connected to this timeless version of metal that we really we really like and enjoy. And yeah, so now it comes with this EP. Maybe in the future, every 2 EPs I can put an album that's going to be called Communion, or Communion 1, Communion 2, and so on.
Mm.
Or every 3 EPs putting together and have like a Trinity, and again Trinity 1, Trinity 2. But we'll see. We'll see. I just want to keep creating music, and whatever the format is, that will be done once I'm having having like everything written and the songs in front of me. Then I will decide where to go with those. I just at the moment want to just create music. And there is the live playing aspect, that, as a one-man band, is particularly challenging in terms of logistics and resources. But luckily, I have some friends here in the Netherlands and also in Sweden that they would like to play with me live. So I
Excellent.
think in a few months, once work settles down a bit, we can try to figure out how to, or I can figure out how to do the live circuit, because that's also a bit of a mystery to me.
And Necrobeast has a life of its own. I wanted to ask you, in having this unique sound, what are some bands that are artists that have influenced your style?
Oh, I mean, you know, m- for Necrobeast, I would say that like Japanese black thrash, Sabbath, Abigail, for
Hmm.
instance. Well, not Japanese, but I mean, Niflheim, Aura Noir, Minotaur from Germany.
Yeah,
From Chile, we also are into this more kind of extreme scene from the early 80s. So Death Yell, Atomic Aggressor, Saint Pentagram, also, all Sepultura, like Morbid Visions, for instance, Sarcófago. There is this as you were mentioning, and I think Necrobeast tried to express that this is like inherent aggression and brutality, and that is something that I feel like you can achieve regardless of the your technical expertise.
sure.
It is possible that it has to do with some sort of like spirit of the song, or of the style that you are playing. But I would say those are my main influences when it comes. Bulldozer, for instance, also. How can I forget it? When writing for Necrobeast, I would say, yeah.
And you have been doing this for a long time. I wanted to ask you if you could take me back in time and tell me how your musical journey started.
Well, it started back in 2003. I had the idea to form the band. I wanted to play. Uh, by then I was, well, still am into thrash metal, but it was around the time where black and thrash were getting a lot of traction. I mean, you
Hmm.
remember mid to late 90s, even early
Sure.
2000s, bands like Disaster, like Nocturnal, even Toxicolocaust back then. They were actually like making their mark in the scene, and that was also in the air, let's say in Chile. In the south of Chile, we mostly have a lot of extreme metal bands, either black or death.
Mm.
Few thrash metal, but black thrash was not actually a thing, and I felt like I found a niche there. Then looking back, it's more than 20 years. You say like, well, you know, I've read some comments and reviews that said like, "Hey man, that sounds the sounds of Necrobeast. It's something that we already had back in the early 2000s, late 90s." Like, yeah, I know because I started with that. I mean, I'm not I'm not
Right.
copying anything. This is the only way I know how to write. And then so yeah, I joke about like it took 20 years to write an album, but also for Necrobis, but also I feel like it took as long as it needed to. I feel like I
Mhm.
could have done it 10 years ago, but it would not have sound as good as it sounds now, or at least I would have been as happy. What happens is that at some point I move out for work to Sweden, and I lived there for 10 years. And in 2018, I was invited to play guitar in Morphetic, this in a new thrash metal band with the guys from Nasgor and Burning Darkness that they were putting together. So this is a little homage for my friends that the singer of Nasgor is the singer of Morphetic, and also the former bass player of Morphetic is the guitar in Nasgor also. Um, and we started to do this thrash. I don't know. I think now they call it retro thrash. For us, it's
Mm.
just thrash. I mean, it's more on the mix of like it's quite thrash, but it also has this more hardcore kind of groove. And we wrote two albums, and I feel like that taught me how to write a song. Actually,
Mm.
of course, I wrote the four songs for the demo, but I was what 15, 16, wasn't sure. I was trying to figure out things. Now with Morphetic, I learned how to actually write songs in a more methodical fashion and not waiting for some sort of burst of inspiration to
Right.
come down and kind of hit me in the head. Um, but not only that, I feel like what was more important for me in to work with Morphetic was the fact that I learned what are the steps after you record a song, right? The mix and mastering,
Sure.
the digital aspect of promotion, uh, realizing that the reach that you have as an independent artist, like with no context, is extremely limited because there's
Sure.
so many bands, so many releases. We were talking before starting,
Yeah.
like so many good releases and very high quality. So you are one voice among many, and how can you reach people, right? Um, so then there's this whole other thing. How do you use the social medias, streaming? The art, what
Yeah.
learning also that producing an album, there's a lot of things that do not depend on you. So establishing deadlines, it's not the very good mental health wise, because sometimes people are not able to, for many reasons, and not because they are lazy or anything, but for many reasons the things do not come as you planned. For instance, I don't know, you might have problems with the printing. Like you send the whole thing and then you realize that the printing went wrong and it's like
You're
super
right.
dark. It's like, oh, we need to figure out how to fix that and so on and so forth. How to use Spotify, how to upload all your music on the streaming. It's a lot of things to do and a
Sure.
lot of planning to do. And I learned that with Morphetic, and I feel like that sort of know-how also allowed me to have a clear schedule or a clear thing in my mind
Hmm.
when I decided to go with Iron Baphomet, because I knew in advance, like I could foresee all the stages and all the possibles in and out, and that's also why I started in 2024, and I it's out now. It's last week. It does takes time. Yeah.
And throughout your musical journey, I wanted to ask you, Is the release of this album one of the proudest moments throughout your career?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like going back to the previous question, I mean, it took as it needed to because otherwise I would have not been happy. I rewrote, re-record many takes until at some point I say, like, look, if I add any other riff, if I add any other harmonics, if I add any other thing in the solo, the song
It's going
will
to
go,
diminish.
yeah, it's not gonna improve anything. You reach a plateau, or worse, you're gonna start, lowering in quality. So when I listen to Iron Baphomet, I can say, look, with my limited resources, this is the best possible scenario. This is the best possible um, result that I could get. So I look back and I'm quite proud. Now, of course, there might people that might really like it, such as yourself.
Yeah,
Some people might not, and I mean that's okay. The album is not for everyone. There are people that might look for innovation. I'm not offering that. Never claim. There might be people that really like this brutal version of
sure.
Black Thrash, and that's amazing. I mean, this is the album that is for you then. And but all in all, I think I'm very proud about, which also established like a very like it sets up a very nice challenge for everything that I do after. So I of
Yes.
course I'm like, can I be as, because I'm not saying like maybe I can be better in terms of like technique, production. It can be better, but will I be as proud? Because
Right.
there is I think there is more to just the technical component of the album that gives you this feeling. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, only time could tell. I will tell you that I'm not gonna take another 20 years to to release an album though. So that we'll see.
And now that the album is out, we talked about that it's streaming. What are their thoughts of doing physical copies?
That was always that was a dream. I mean, it was very. It was a big step when I had El Despertar de la Necrobestia, the demo on tape. Because as I told you, like we recorded it back in the day. I
Sure.
remember my parents went away and I rented a drum set and we recorded everything on the living room of my house. Like we had only 5 hours to do so, and then having those songs and burning the CD, because back in the day you
Sure.
burn your CD, right?
Yeah.
And then you give it away, right? That was already special, but it was never, and it was never, I never thought of it had as a quote unquote professional product, like seeing like a proper tape with a
Hmm.
label and anything. Never thought about that. But when Brutal Insanity offered to do it, and they sent me the copies of the tape, I was like, fuck, man, this is the
Yes.
thing. This is right. Like here it is. And I always wanted to whatever album would have to produce it on physical copies, and having the opportunity that Witches Brew took, like the chance and also the risk of releasing both CDs and vinyls, and Urolic Joel from France, the tape. I mean, that was a dream. Like at the moment. I have a copy of the tape and of the CD, and it's been incredible to like look at this. This is 20 years,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and the LP will come out at the end of June. So that then the cycle will be closed. So I'm still looking forward to that.
And lastly, my friend, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what message would you give them?
Keep the flame alive, man. This is something that we all build. Metal is something that we'll keep with the music, also with the outlets for such as your podcast, and most importantly, the people that will listen to the music. Feel free to send an email to say hi. Uh, just enjoy the album because I don't know. I'm very proud of it. So I really, I really like it. And Yeah, thank you for the support. That's the most important thing. Thank you for the support. It's incredible. You do it for like some sort of curiosity. I want to hear something that I created, but then suddenly you have this network of people that tune in with you
Sure.
and they really care about the product, and it was like wow. And no words, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And there's more Necroist.
And and
100%.
the thing that I love about it is that it does have that upside. You listen to this whole album and you would have thought that, you know, man, this is either a six-piece band or something going on here. And to hear that it's the work of you is absolutely amazing, my friend. It shows the talent that you have. And I look forward to what you do next because I thoroughly love this album from top to bottom.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much. It fills my heart with joy to hear that. And yeah, don't worry, we're gonna keep in touch. And if there's anything new with Necrobeast, you're gonna be one of the first to know. Thank you very
Thank,
much for giving me the
thank,
chance to talk. And
thank
yeah,
you, my friend. And enjoy the rest of your day.
you too. Thank you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.